Okay guys, let's talk about kidney disease and the ketogenic diet. Not that the ketogenic diet causes kidney disease, but can the ketogenic diet potentially help it? Well, that's yes. And why is that? Because the ketogenic diet is a moderate to low protein diet, which protein for people who've got kidney disorders, disease is a huge problem. So kidney disease, proteins bringing urea, and the kidneys are designed to purify the blood. So unfortunately, you have this nitrogenous effect from eating meats high in urea. So we don't want high protein foods, but we don't want to compromise our bones, our skin, all places of our body needing these building blocks of protein to keep us healthy. So you have this kind of like you can't do too little protein, but you can't do too much protein. So ketogenic diet is great because you are eating foods low in protein and low in some of the plant chemicals that you have that also can be problematic for the kidneys, like some greens can be problematic. So with that said, eating meats that are high in protein, chicken breast, probably wouldn't be a good idea if you got kidney disease. So these higher in fat meats like lamb near the rib, small cuts of meat, higher in fat foods to keto adapt could be advantageous to help heal the kidneys. Yes, I'm not an expert, but I have worked with a few people who've had kidney disease, but it's tempered. Like, they have to make a lot of the decisions on their own. They have to journal their own reactions to, let's say, going from eating no protein to eating high in fat protein. So do I think that the ketogenic diet could potentially heal kidney disease? Definitely. And so a lot of you guys got to just go out there and do your due diligence and learn more yourself. Study more people who've tried keto, who've got kidney disorders. So the problem is that a lot of you guys are not eating high quality foods. So you're eating cheese, you're eating nuts, you're eating foods that have a lot of bacteria on it. People are drinking caffeine, they're not drinking enough water. So already people who have, how you develop the dang thing is by eating too much packaged food, this kidney disease. Having too much high blood sugar, which is affecting, it's overloading the liver and then the kidneys. And so just that, the fact that you're dependent on ketones rather than glucose, which again creates this advanced glycation end product effect, the damage of your cells, is amazing that ketogenesis is having your body use ketones. Now, when I read about ketones and kidney disease, they'll say, well, ketones too high can be dangerous because they're acidic, and that's really straining on this filtration system that the kidney does. Well, you guys, people don't develop ketoacidosis as long as they're not type 1 diabetic or they don't have some deadly infection like meningitis or dengue fever. It is very, very rare that any type of individual would develop ketoacidosis. It's typically because type 1s don't have the production of insulin, which will buffer how high your ketones can go. So ketoacidosis would be when you're getting over 12 millimolar, and I've never even seen that. The highest I've seen with millimolars regarding your ketones is 7, which is not even close to being acidic, because you most likely have a functioning pancreas that is still making ketones. And so people who develop ketoacidosis that you have to be worried about, who might have kidney disorder, are type 1s who don't eat, they're eating carbs, right? They're not taking care of their health. And a lot of these diabetics develop kidney disease because they're not minding how high their blood sugar goes, which creates this advanced glycation end product, which is that whole negative loop of damaging your kidneys more. So people who are type 1s who don't produce insulin are at risk for ketoacidosis because there's no insulin to buffer how high the ketones go, which I just stated. Otherwise, the rest of you are good to go. If you want to learn more, you can go to stephanieperson.com. I think that ketogenesis can be an amazing tool to help heal people with kidney disease. But we're all still learning, guys. There's no school of keto or ketogenesis. There is no school. And each day we learn. And remember, a lot of the studies are too short term. You've got to really take different populations and study, and especially the application of keto must be done in certain ways. Like, okay, I'm going to use corn oil. I'm going to use certain vegetable oils, seed oils. I'm going to use animal fat. I'm going to use this much fat on this type of athlete or sedentary person or somebody who's got autoimmunity. You have to really take the gamut of all different kinds of people over time, like a year study, to really understand the effects. So a lot of these short-term studies are just too subjective, because even in the first 3 months, you're not doing well because your body becomes or has become addicted to glucose from just eating a SAD diet, standard American diet, your entire life. So if you guys want to learn more, I'm going to do more research about this. I'm going to put some of my data in that I've learned from the people that I've worked with who have autoimmunity, liver problems, or kidney problems, and maybe touch lightly on the book. I'm still learning myself, but I think that keto can be a great tool for not just people with kidney disease, liver disease, all these types of things like lupus, cancer, people who have any type of autoimmunity, really. Thyroid, Addison's, low cortisol. And I'm out. Yes. Oh, you can catch me on my Instagram, which is Stephanie Ketogenic, my Facebook, which is Stephanie the Business Person. And yay, I'm talking at Paleo FX at the end of April, I believe it is. And I'm just really excited. My life is good. I've been doing keto for 10 years. I'm 50 years of age. This is the mother-sucking business, again at 50, and I'm out.